Is it true you taught yourself guitar and harmonica?
Well, nobody really teaches himself guitar and harmonica. You know, you just have to, when you don't know anything, you first you get a book or something and you learn. What I remember is like learning a couple of chords of some books, and then it's just going out to watch people, you know, to see how they're doing it, how they play those chords, and wherever people are playing, you don't really go so much to hear them. You just go to see how they're doing what they do. You know, try to get up as close as you can and just see what their fingers are doing. And you know, in that early stage, it's just more like a learning thing. And that sometimes can take years. You know, like many years sometimes. Sometimes it takes people many years. Sometimes it takes people. To me, I've kind of picked it up rather quickly, but I didn't really play it with that much technique. People really didn't take to me because of that, because I didn't care. I didn't really go out of my way to learn as much technique as some of the people. I mean, I knew people that made a complete profession and livelihood out of playing John Lee Hooker chords, just hammering on the E string, and that was all. And they could play it in such a beautiful way; they looked like a ballet dancer. And then when and everybody had a different style. You know, they had styles and they had techniques that especially in folk music. You know, there was your Southern Mountain banjo, and then flat picking, your flat picking technique, and then your finger picking techniques, and just all these different runs, you know, different styles of ballads. You know, folk music was a world it was very split up when there was a purist side to it. You know, many people, they didn't want to hear you if you couldn't play a song exactly the way Aunt Molly Jackson played it. You know, they didn't want to hear you play it. So I just kind of blazed my way through all that stuff. You know, I would hear somebody do something, and finally get past a certain point, and it's like, well, what do you want from that? I mean, you can learn, you know, it's this. You might want to learn the song or the lyrics, or you might want to see how they're playing. You might want to pick that up, that style they're playing. I don't know. I mean, I just stayed up day and night, you know, just barnstorming my way through all that stuff. And then I heard Woody Guthrie one time. Before I got to New York, I heard Woody Guthrie, and then it all came together for me.
I went down by the fishing hole, and I sat down with my fishing pole. Some grabbed my hook, and they got my bait, and it jerked me out in the middle of the lake. Some jumped, I got sunk, baptized on a credit. Fishing down on the muddy bank, I felt a pull and I give a big yank. I hauled out 3 old rubber boots and a Ford radiator and a Chevrolet coupe. Handed in for national defense. Sitting in a boat with a bucket of beer, and I hadn't caught nothing, but I didn't much care. I guess I was pretty well satisfied. I had my little lady right by my side, taking it easy, just a-waiting.
Do you remember the first Woody Guthrie record you heard?
Yeah, I think so. The first Woody Guthrie I heard, the first Woody Guthrie song I heard, I think, was probably called Pastures of Plenty. Pastures of Plenty, and Pretty Boy Floyd, and another song that he used to write a lot of his songs from existing melodies. You know, those, and a couple other ones, maybe Grand Coulee Dam, and they really impressed me. You know.
Got to you?
Oh
Any
yeah.
song?
Oh yeah. Because they were original. I mean, they just had a mark of originality on them, and the lyrics did. I just learned all the songs. I just heard them. I learned them all off of records. You know, I learned them all the songs of Woody Guthrie that I could find. Anybody that had a Woody Guthrie record or that knew a Woody Guthrie song. And in St. Paul at the time, where I was, there were some people around who not only had his records, but that knew his songs. So I just learned them all from him. Some of the best records that I heard him make were these records that he made on the Stinson label, with Cisco Houston and Sonny Terry. And I don't know if Leadbelly was on there. I heard Leadbelly too, actually. I learned a bunch of his stuff and learned how to play like that. But one of the biggest thrills that I ever had, actually, was when I reached New York, whenever it was, I got to play with Cisco Houston. No, I didn't really. I don't know if I actually got. Yeah, I did get to play with him at a party or something. And but I used to watch him. He used to play at Folk City, nightclub Folk City. He was an amazing-looking guy. I mean, he was like Clark Gable.
Yeah.
He was like he was a movie star.
He reminded me a little of Tennessee Ernie, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Also very unheralded.
Oh, completely. Completely, like one of the great unsung heroes.
Yep.
Of all time, one of the great American figures. And no one, you ask people who, about him, nobody knows anything about him.
When do you think you started to develop something that was uniquely yours? As you were talking about playing Woody Guthrie. Yeah, you were talking about playing Woody Guthrie and.
Yeah, well, I was doing Woody stuff. Well, New York would do that to you. I was playing all Woody Guthrie stuff. When I came to New York, that's all I played was Woody Guthrie songs. Well, about 6 months after that, I stopped playing all Woody's Guthrie songs, but I used to play in a place called Cafe Wah, and it used to open at noon. It opened at noon, and it closed at 6 in the morning. And it was just a non-stop flow of people. Usually they were tourists, who were looking for beatniks in the village and things. And they used to turn over. You'd play. There used to be maybe 5 groups that played there. I used to play with a guy called Fred Neal, who wrote the song "Everybody's Talking." That song was the Midnight Cowboy.
Yeah.
And Fred was I don't know where he's from. I think he was from Florida.
Coconut Grove, I think.
Yeah. But he had a songwriting deal with in Nashville, so he used to make that scene from Coconut Grove to Nashville to New York. And he had a strong, powerful voice, and he had almost bass voice, and a powerful sense of rhythm. And he used to play most of the songs that somebody like Josh White would play, and I would just play harmonica with him. Once in a while, I'd get to sing a song, which would be, when he was taking a break or something. And so I'd get to sing a song once and play the harmonica the rest of the time. That was him. That was his show, and he'd be on for maybe a half hour. And then a conga drum group would get on called the Los Congueros, and with 20 conga drum players and bongos and steel drums, and they would play for maybe a half hour. And then this girl, I think her name was Judy Rainey. She used to play sweet Southern Mountain Apache, Appalachian ballads with electric guitar and a small amplifier. And then another guy used to sing on there named Hal Waters, who used to sort of be a crooner. He used to sing kind of like Leon Bibb. Remember him? Mm-hmm. He used to sing, and then there'd be a comedian, and he'd go up for maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and then an impersonator, and that would be the whole show. That would be like this unit would just go around nonstop. So you'd know where you went on, after whoever it was, and then you could eat there, and you got fed there, which was actually the best thing about the place.
How long a set would you do?
I do, half hour, 40 minutes, and then go back on. The comedian, I think, only did until he was hooted off the stage. If they didn't like you back then, you couldn't play. If they liked you, you played more. If they didn't like you didn't play at all. You played 1 or 2 songs, and people would just boo or hiss or something.
Well, this wasn't your own stuff you were singing there. I mean, you
No,
weren't.
I never started playing my own stuff until much later.
Well, where did you start to perform your own stuff? That's really.
Well, I just drifted into it. I started writing my own songs someplace along the way. I always kind of wrote my own songs, but I never really would play them. And nobody played their own songs. The only person that I ever heard doing it was Woody Guthrie. And then one day, I just wrote a song, and it was the first song I wrote was that I performed in public was a song that I wrote to Woody Guthrie, and I just felt like playing it one night, and I played it.
Was writing something that you had always wanted to do, or was it basically from the Woody thing?
Not really.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing I wanted to do ever. I wanted just to sing a song to sing, and as it came at a certain point where I couldn't sing anything, I had to write what I wanted to sing, because what I wanted to sing was nobody else was writing. I couldn't find it anywhere. I mean, what I felt was going on nobody was writing. You know, I couldn't find that song someplace. If I could have, I probably would never started writing.
The writing, was it something that came easy to you? Because, I mean, it is a craft you do very well, and you talk about it so casually.
Well, yeah, it is. It does come easy. But then after after you make so many records, and the years kind of just go by, it's like sometimes you just don't know anymore whether, well, am I doing this because I want to do it, or because you think it's expected of you? Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So you'll start just say, well, I got to write a song, not time to write a song, and you'll try to do something, but it just won't come out right, you know. And it's at that time, at those kind of times, it's best just to go and sing somebody else's song.
Was it a lot of work writing? Was it a labor at that point, or did they just
really. It was something I just would do. You know, you sit up and you write. You know, you just sit up all night and you write a song, or you be some. In those days, I used to write songs a lot of them times in cafes, or at somebody's house with a typewriter. Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, I wrote in the basement of the Village Gate. All of it. Basement of the Village Gate. At Chip Monk's. You know Chip?
Sure.
Yeah.
He used to have a place down there in the boiler room, an apartment that he slept in.
It's the Greenwich Hotel.
Next to the Greenwich Hotel.
Yeah, well, that's, yeah.
Yeah, but his place was it was literally in the basement of the Village Gate. He used to do the lights there, I think. And I wrote Hard Rain's Gonna Fall down there. I'd write them at people's houses, you know, or people's apartments, wherever I was, you know.
Were you much of a polisher? I mean, did you write it and then pour over it, or did it pretty much happen?
Pretty much just leave them the way they were.
With lyrics like that, it's not surprising that a lot of people in what was called the establishment considered Bob Dylan a threat when he started out in the early 60s. But at the same time, he was an underground sensation, a young poet hailed as an enigmatic spokesman for the new generation. The media hopped on the bandwagon, and Dylan was even hired to sing on The Ed Sullivan Show. The song he was to sing was a talking blues about the John Birch Society. But at the last minute, CBS said no way, and Dylan just left.
Yeah, I don't know why I walked off that show. I could have done something else, but we'd rehearsed that song, you know, so many times. And everybody had heard it. I mean, we just rehearsed it, you know, for maybe days, you know, when they run through the show, they just, you know, put you on and you run through your number and you're off, and it always got a great response. And I was looking forward to singing it because it had gotten such a great response, and Ed Sullivan seemed to really like it. And as I remember,
Probably was the sponsor who objected.
I don't know who objected, but this was Showtime. It was Showtime, you know, and just before I was going out to sing it, they came in. And there was a big huddle. I could see people talking about something, and I was just getting ready to play, you know, and somebody stepped up and said that I couldn't sing that song, and they wanted me to sing a Clancy Brothers song. And it didn't make any sense for me to sing a Clancy Brothers song on nationwide TV at that time. So I just left.
Do you remember a time we were all down in San Juan, Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
For a CBS record convention?
Yeah.
And it was being held at the San Juan Hilton, or whatever they call it. San Juan Hilton, I guess. And Caribe Hilton. This huge CBS record convention, and it was just as Bob was beginning to hit. And the president of CBS at the time was a fabulous man named Goddard Lieberson. And they wouldn't let Bob in the hotel because he was not wearing, I think, a tie or a jacket.
Yeah, or a shirt.
And Lieberson, to his credit, told the manager, either he comes in the hotel or I'm pulling the whole convention out of here. Have I told the story right?
Yeah, he was a big supporter of mine, Goddard Lieberson, as was John Hammond. Without those people like that, I don't think nothing would have happened for me. If I was to come along now, in this day, with all these people that are running the record companies now, they would see somebody like me, they would, you know, bar the door, I think. But you had people back then that were more entrenched in individuality or something.
And also not as insecure in their jobs.
No, no. They ran things. You know, when they made decisions and it stuck. Now, I mean, it's like everybody's checks with somebody else. It's like, well, I'll tell you tomorrow, we'll call me back later. Yeah, we almost got a deal, stuff like that, you know.
Did you get along okay with Becker? I mean, do you think that they...
Goddard was great.
Yeah, you got along okay with him?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he was a fantastic man.
He even came to some sessions of mine. He'd always would stop in and say hello, you know.
Did they ever get any pressure, though? I mean, there were people who considered your music almost subversive, although I always considered it very American.
I guess they did. I don't know. But they, like I said, they seemed to run things. You know, other people might have been talking under their breath or something, you know, or behind their back and things like that. But at this time, their big acts were Mitch Miller, you know, and Mitch Miller was the biggest.
Andy Williams.
Andy Williams.
Johnny Mathis.
Johnny Mathis was big, yeah. And I didn't begin to sell records anyway until the second record. I think the second record I made the charts, yeah. Went up the charts, the second record I did.
First single to make the charts was Subterranean Homesick Blues. Made the bottom of the charts.
That was on my fourth record or something.
Yeah.
But I think the Freewheelin' album made the charts. But it was Subterranean Homesick.
There was an amazing single, though, when you think of what the singles were like at that time.
They made some good records then that were you know, good pop records. Not on Columbia though. And Phil Spector was doing a lot of stuff with them at that time, and you know, Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller, I think, were doing. That was their big.
Did you listen to a lot of pop stuff at that time?
Yeah, I would listen to a lot of pop stuff, but it never influenced what I was doing to any great degree. It had the earlier stuff did, but you know, like the really early stuff that I heard, the old hillbilly stuff, or when rock and roll came in after Elvis, you know, Elvis, Carl Perkins, Buddy Holly, those people, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, that stuff influenced me.
And
all those people faded away. Yeah, nostalgia
the 30s,
to me.
yeah.
You know, nostalgia to me isn't really rock and roll, because when I was a youngster, the music they were playing, the music I heard was Frankie Lane, Rosemary Clooney, Dennis, what's his name, like Your Hit Parade, Dennis Day, or
Dorothy
Collins, and you know, the Mills Brothers, all that stuff. You know, that to me, when I hear stuff like that, it always strikes a different chord than all the rock and roll stuff does. The rock and roll stuff, I had a conscious mind at that time, but 10 years before that, it was like Mule Train, you know, and Johnny Ray knocked me out.
Yeah.
Johnny Ray was the first person actually who really knocked me out.
What was it? What was it
person.
about Johnny Ray, do you think?
Oh, he was just so emotional, wasn't he? You know, just...
Funny, I saw Johnny Ray a few months
I
ago.
ran into him in an elevator in Australia. He's like, he was like one of my idols, you know. I mean, I was speechless. There I was in an elevator with Johnny Ray. I mean, what do you say, you know?
When you started to move from the pure folk style into a more electric style, was that a tough one?
Now we're getting into a touchy subject.
Okay. Because today, I mean, you go on stage, and both of those things coexist. I mean, nobody thinks twice.
Well, they always did exist, you know.
I'm not talking about so much that, but at least what it seemed like from the outside. I mean, there were people who were trying to tell you how to make your music.
Well, there's always people trying to tell you how to do everything in your life, you know. What, you know, if you listen to that, I mean, you can go, if you ask somebody's opinion, if you really don't know what to do and you really don't care to know what to do, just ask somebody's opinion. You know, you'll get a million different opinions. If you don't want to do something, just ask somebody's opinion. They'll just verify it for you, you know. The easiest way to do something is just don't ask anybody's opinion. I mean, if you really believe in what you're doing. I've asked people's opinion, and it's been a great mistake. In different areas, I have. I mean, in my personal life, I say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, what do you think? They say, oh, wow. You know, and then you end up usually not really doing it, or else doing it wrong.
No, as a matter of fact, I think an artist has to make an innate decision about their career.
Yeah, you know what's right. It's when those times come, you know what's right. You know, a lot of times you might be floundering around and not knowing what's right. You might do something dumb. But that's only because you happen to know what to do in the first place. But if you know what's right and it strikes you at a certain time, you can usually believe that instinct. And if you act on it, you'd be successful at it. I mean, whatever it is.
Recording is a whole other thing from being on stage. And you, from what I've read, try and record as spontaneously as possible.
I have, yeah, I have. I don't do that so often anymore, but I have. Yeah, I usually just take a song in the studio, because recording a song bores me. You know, it's like working in a coal mine. Well, I mean, it's not really as serious as that. I mean, you're not completely that far underground, literally, in a literal sense. But, you know, you can get just, you could be indoors for months and never know it, you know. I mean, what you think is real is just not anymore. I mean, all you're listening to are sounds all the time, and your whole world just is working with tapes and things. And I've never liked that side of it. Plus, I never got into it on that level. When I recorded, I just went in and recorded the song I had. You know, that's the way people recorded then. But the people don't record that way, and I shouldn't record that way either, because they can't even get it down that way anymore. And to do what I used to do, or to do what anybody used to do, you have to stay in the studio a longer time to even get that right, because, you know, technology has messed everything up so much.
It's messed it up?
Yeah, it's messed it up.
What?
Technology has given you a false picture. Anybody who got anything to do falsely, like you listen to the records that are done now, they're all done in a technology sort of way, which is a conniving kind of way. You can dream up what you want to do and just go in and dream it up, you know, and do it. But you go see some of that stuff live, and you know, you're going to be very disappointed because, well, I mean, if you want to see some of it live, you may not want to, you know. But I think it's messed it up. But it's progress, you know. It can't go back the way it used to be. For me, it's messed things up. For a lot of people it's messed things up for, and then for a lot of other people who it's a great advantage for. In other words, you can get something right now. It doesn't have to be right, but you can get it right. You know, it can be totally wrong, but you can get it right. And it can be done just with sound and we were just recording something the other night, and we're going to put some hand claps on it. You know, and the guy sitting behind the board, he's saying, well, do you guys want to go out there and actually clap? I mean, I got a machine right here who can do that. You know, what's his name? You know, and his name was Roland or something. You know? But you know, we went out and clapped instead. You know, not that ain't a big deal. We could have had some machine do it, but that's just a small example of what everything is just machine orientated. You know.
You talk almost, you say, like, I don't even know how to put it, that, you know, the world has gone here and, like, you're old-fashioned.
Well, I feel I am old-fashioned, but I don't feel like I'm old-fashioned in a way that I'm not modern-fashioned. You know, I feel that, you know, on a certain level, there's no old-fashioned and there's no new-fashioned. It's there really nothing has changed. You know, I don't feel like I'm old-fashioned in the kind of way where I feel like I'm a passé person, you know, that's sitting somewhere, you know, out in Montana, and just watching it snow, you know. But even if I was, you know, I mean, I'm sure that would be okay.
Yeah, but Bob, you can't go to a concert like Wembley.
Well,
and get the
okay, but I mean, to say old-fashioned, look, I mean, life is life. I mean, you don't get that many years to live, right? So if you want to keep up with things, I mean, how long can you keep up with things to say what's new? And even when you're keeping up with things, what are you keeping up with? You're trying to keep up with what? Who buys most of the records? 12-year-old kids? Who buys Michael Jackson records? 12-year-olds, 14, 15, 16, maybe 18, 20-year-olds. You know, I don't know who buys 50 million records of somebody. You know, I don't know. I don't know. You know, or you can't like compete with a market that's geared for 12-year-olds. You know, or 14 or 15-year-olds. I mean, you have rock and roll critics who are 40 years old writing about records that are geared for people that are 10 years old and making an intellectual philosophy out of it. You know?
And you don't listen to that stuff? You
No, I don't
to-
listen to that stuff, and I don't listen to those critics. And I've come up with a lot of people who should know a whole lot better, that at one time did, and who made a career out of writing about rock and roll. Writing about rock and roll, I mean, you know, how indecent can you be? You know, I'm not saying that it's all bad. People have to express themselves. And some people, rock and roll gives them a thrill, or it did give them a thrill. Well, most of the people that I can think of as rock and roll or authoritarian people are people who documented down what I remember growing up with as it started, right? So everybody knows where the roots of rock and roll are. Everybody knows who does what. But to make such an intellectual game out of it and is beside the point. You know, it's not going to really add anything to the history of popular music. It's just going to feed a lot of cynical people and self-righteous people who think they've got a claim on the rock and roll gold mine or whatever it is, you know. And I find that very distasteful.
Do you have, or I'm not going to ask you which ones, but I mean, are there things where you sometimes look back and say, Jesus, boy, that was a good one?
Oh, yeah. I look at those, the songs you're talking about. I look at those songs. I can't write those songs today. I couldn't write those songs. No way. I look at those songs, because I sing them all the time.
You wonder where it came from?
I wonder, not only wonder where it came from, wonder how it even came, or what, yeah, where it came from, how it's constructed. Most of those songs I look at that way. Even the simplest songs, I look at that way. I couldn't do them now. And I don't even try, you know. I'd be a fool to try. I mean, there's no way you could try. I think there's a lot of good songwriters, though. What I've done all alone, you know. But just songwriters, there's a lot of good ones. A lot of good songwriters.
Like
of my age, of my era.
Like Hopa.
Randy Newman writes good songs. Paul Simon's written some good songs. And I think America's a good song. You know, I think The Boxer is a good song. I think Bridge Over Troubled Water is an excellent song. I mean, you know, I think he's written a lot of bad songs too, but everybody's written a lot of bad songs.
You
Let's
mentioned...
see, who do I think is a good? Some of the Nashville songs. Shel Silverstein writes great songs. Really, you know, he's like one of my favorite songwriters. You know, you express the whatever it is you're expressing. You're expressing it out of the amount of knowledge and light and inspiration you're given on it. You know, if you're given this much, well, that's what. Then you just make that much out of it. If you're just given that an inch, you know, then you just got to make that as much as you can.
Have you ever tried your hand at any other arts?
Yeah, painting.
Really? Did you do much of it?
Yeah, not so much in recent years, but it's something I would like to do if I could. Got to be in the right place, and, you know, to do it. You have to commit a lot of time to it, and say, "Well, I'm going to do this for a while," because one thing leads to another, and you tend to discover things as you go along. So it takes time to develop it, you know. But I know how to do it fundamentally enough so that once I get into the rhythm of it, I could do it if I could hang with it long enough.
Do you
Yeah.
take time for yourself?
Oh yeah, all my time's for myself. I don't have any public time. People think that's public time, but that's really that's my time.
That's a great place to be.
Well, I mean, that's the place you were at when you were born. That's the place you should be.
It
I mean,
wasn't-
what's there to make you not be in that place? Because you have to be part of the machine. So what if you're not part of the machine? I don't know if I've ever been happy. Tell you, I mean, you know, talking straight. You know, I don't know. I mean, happy. I mean, I don't consider myself happy. Happy. Well, I don't consider myself unhappy, but I don't ever thought of life in terms of happiness and unhappiness. It just never occurred to me.
Think of it in terms of growth?
No, never thinks in terms of growth. I'll tell you what I do though think of. I do think though is that You never stop at anywhere. There's no place to stop at. You know them places at the side of the road you can stop? They're just an illusion.
Road goes on.
Yeah, you got to get back on the road. And that's all them places to stop are at. That's all they are. I mean, you may want to stop, you know, but you can't stay there.
Well, when you say, I mean, when you talk about going along the road, isn't that in a sense growth, or at least it's movement, I guess, from point A to point B to point C to point D?
Well, that's growth, yeah, but what's growth? I mean, everything grows. That's just the way life is. Life just grows. You know, it grows and it dies. It lives and it dies.
What I'm trying to get
But
is,
wherever you get to a plateau, you've got, you know, that's not it. You've got to go to the next one. You can't stay nowhere. There's no place to stay. There's no place that'll keep you.
because of boredom, or just because that's the way it is?
No, that's the nature of things, you know.
So you see yourself just moving onward and...
I see everybody like that way. I see the whole world that way. That which doesn't do that is that, you know, it's stuff which is just gets dead, you know.
You almost, them's that not, what is that line? Those that are not busy being born are
Busy
busy
dying.
dying. I mean, that's...
What a line.
Who wrote it? Somebody who wrote that one.
Classic line, that. You know, people say, well, isn't it great to be able to do what you do? Well, you know, yeah, but it is to a degree, but, you know, you forget that touring performers, anybody that's an artist that's out touring, or that's playing live from town to town, night after night, you think that's easy. It's not easy. You think that people are having a ball. I mean, people say, I talk to people on the phone, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm in Schenectady. You know, oh yeah, well, you're having a great time. You know, I'm stuck here, you know, in Orlando. But it's not, you know, I mean, you just have to get up and you know, like you have to do what you're supposed to do. So you have to do that. But like I know, like when I get off the road, oh man, for the first 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, even maybe, if it's that long. I mean, for the first week anyway, until it gets boring being off the road. But for the first week off the road, I mean, you can get up any time you want. You know, you don't have to go to sleep at this hour and get up at that hour and get yourself lined up to do this and you know, and be here in that certain place and have to go through this and go through that and then get back and get the proper amount of sleep and eat right, you know, and afraid to get sick, you know, afraid you're going to hurt yourself someplace along the line. All those things, you know, like you have to just disappear on the last show, you know, and then you can do anything you want. I mean, it's a high feeling.
You go sailing. Yeah?
Yeah.
What, I mean, what, do you want to talk about anything about what you like to do other than...
I like
that's
to do a lot
personal.
of things, but
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about
Okay.
anything I like to do. For
Okay.
you know, for
Just talk
Okay.
about things you
No.
don't.
things I don't like to do. Those are,
No, the
yeah.
things you don't like to do. You said you consider yourself a pretty regular kind of guy. I mean, you said just like anybody else.
Well, sure. I mean, you know, I breathe the same air that everybody does, and I have to do the same things most people do. Yeah.
So you don't feel very like... There's a lot of lyric, or perhaps the earlier songs, there's a sense of separation.
Oh, well, I mean, you know, there's always a sense of separation. I mean, even in the later songs. There wouldn't be any point to it if there wasn't any sense of separation. I mean, if I was just going out, if I was just saying... If I didn't have anything different, you know, to say that people couldn't quite, you know... If it didn't come from some place where somebody wasn't really looking at it that way, then what would be the point to it? You know, I could do a Ronettes album.
I think the most interesting thing you said so far, by the way.
Have I said anything interesting?
Yeah.
You said a lot that's
one
exceedingly
thing that was
interesting.
exceptionally interesting to me was when you said that you started writing because nobody was writing the songs you wanted to sing.
That's when I started writing.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's why I'm still writing.
So you do it for you.
I wish somebody come along and send me some songs that I could do. I mean, it's such a burden taken off my shoulder, you know? I mean, it's heavy, man.
To write all those songs and you're Bob Dylan and they expect them. There still is a lot of expectation. Have you been able to get beyond that of worrying about what people expect out of you?
Who expects what? I mean, anybody that expects anything from me is it's borderline case, you know. Nobody in any kind of reality sense is going to expect anything from me. I mean, I'm already giving them enough. What do they want from me, you know? You can't keep depending on one person to give you everything. You know, like my thing is usually done with, okay, like I'll write the song. Yeah, then the song will be with the lyric or the rhythm or whatever it is for the song. And then you make the record of it. But for me, it's never been about making records. I like to make good records. But for me, I have to go out and play, you know. And I'm not about all that other stuff like videos and things. I mean, I wouldn't mind making videos, but it's nothing for me to try to really attempt to do. I mean, it's because everything is fake, you know. It's like making a movie. It's all fake. You know, they can do this take again, that take again, so it's all on how good it looks. Anybody can make a video. Anybody. All you need is a camera. Whatever you want, what kind of camera you want. 16 millimeter or a video camera. Anybody can do it. And anybody can make a good one. And people will like it. You show people something that's done in a technologically kind of way, and they're not going to know what to think about it, so they're going to like it. You can, dress it up in so many different kinds of ways. So many different kinds of ways, and people don't know what to think. Nobody's going to sit there and say, well, this is bullshit. Nobody's going to sit there and look at something on video, on television, and say, this is awful. Or this don't make any sense at all. I mean, nobody's going to say that, and say, stop making these things. It's been a long time since I even seen one, but last time I saw one, I mean, I was appalled. And when you go see some of these groups, and I've seen a few of the groups that there aren't anything, like they're just nothing, and that's because they go for the faking thing so much. But in the other arena, I mean, you have to do it live or you just don't do it. You can't do it. I've always played live. Since I was started out, I've always played live in front of a crowd. And that's the only place it counts for me. It don't count on a video or a movie, or I don't care about being a movie star or a video star or any of that stuff, My shows usually I'm usually in a no frame of mind before a show, none whatsoever. And I have to kick in at some place along the line. It usually takes me sometimes one or two songs. Sometimes it takes me much longer than that. Sometimes it takes me to the encore.
Does the band, I would
if
imagine,
I get an encore.
the band, I would imagine, has an effect on that, on you, doesn't it? I mean, you're not just up there yourself.
Absolutely. I played with some bands that have gotten in my way so much it's just been a struggle to get through the show. Oh yeah, certain times it just gets ridiculous,
And I'd imagine the flip side too. There's probably bands that turn you on. Or...
Yeah, this last group we had was I thought was good.
Rolling Thunder was an interesting tour. It was different for you. It wasn't just the performing, but the whole idea of the thing. There was a spontaneity to it. No?
Yeah,
Yeah.
There was definitely was a lot of spontaneity to that.
Was it scary or exciting?
A little of both. We used to
And
do double shows at the Rolling Thunder shows. We'd be in a hall, say, for 14 hours. Rolling Thunder shows were 6 hours long.
That had to be people loving to make music.
Well, there were so many people, that the people in the audience came and went. There'd be people lined up outside. When other people left the show, people would bring their lunch, or dinner or something.
It's like a Grateful Dead concert.
Yeah.
Was that did that idea come from you to do it that way?
No, that just happened. We started out with a small show, and it just evolved into that.
That's an amazing thing to me, that you're able to maintain that. A lot of people, when they get to a certain place in the business.
I thought the Rolling Thunder shows were great. I think someday somebody should make a movie about them.
And call it?
Rolling Thunder.
You've been smiling a lot and laughing a lot here. You don't do that much on stage, but you say you really enjoy yourself. You look so serious.
Well, the songs take you through different trips, you see. I mean, you know, what's there to smile about? If you can't, how are you going to sing Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, or Tangled Up in Blue, or With God on Our Side, or Mr. Tambourine Man, or Like a Rolling Stone, or License to Kill, or Shot of Love, or Poison Love, you know, or any of that. How can you sing that with a smile on your face? I mean, it would be kind of hypocritical. You'll do things which you'll know certain nights are just great. You'll know they're great, and you get no response. And then you'll go someplace else, and you know, and it'll be, you just don't have it that night, you know. You just don't have it. I mean, for a variety of reasons. You don't have it. You're just kind of going through it, and it's always got to be on a certain. It's always got to be consistent. You get it to a place where it can be consistent. I mean, that's just the way it's got to be. You get a place where it's consistent, but it's that level where it stays on. It can get great, which is really, you know, triple consistent. But usually, I've done things that I was, you know, I might have had a temperature of 104. You know, or I might have been kicked in the side that day. I couldn't hardly stand up. I've done shows where I could hardly stand up. You know, where it's been painful to stand there. And that's kind of humiliating in a way, because you know that there's no way you can be as good as you want to be. You know, I mean, you just know it. I mean, there's no way you know you can, not only you want to be, but you could be. You know that this isn't, you're not going to be, before it even starts, you know you're not going to be as good as, not only you want to be, you can be, you know. I remember one time, one time I've ever wanted to replay a show. That was in Montreal. We played a show in Montreal in 1978. I had a temperature of 104, couldn't even stand up, and a promoter said, well, you got to play this show. And we played the show, and I didn't have nothing. Nothing. And there was a response. You'd think the Pope was there, you know. And I've played other shows where I had everything happening. I mean, I just rewrote the book. Nothing. No response. When I do whatever it is that I'm doing, there's rhythm involved and there's phrasing involved. And that's where it all balances out, in the rhythm of it and in the phrasing of it. It's not in the lyrics. People think it's in the lyrics. Maybe on the records it's in the lyrics, you know. But in a live show, it's not on the lyrics. It's in the phrasing and the dynamics and the rhythm. It's got nothing whatsoever to do with the lyrics. I mean, it does. It does have something to do with the lyrics. The lyrics have to be there. Sure they do. But, you know, there was this Egyptian singer, Kulthum. Have you ever heard her? She's one of my favorite singers of all time. I don't understand a word she sings. She'll sing one song that might last for 40 minutes. Same song. And she'll sing the same phrase over and over and over again. You know, in a different way every time. And there's no U.S. Western singer, I think, that's in that kind of category, you know? Except possibly me. but on another level. Do you know what I mean? To me, it's not a business, you know? And to the people who have survived along with me, it's not a business. It just isn't. It's never been a business, and never will be a business. It just is a way of surviving, you know? It's what you do, you know? It's like, it's just like somebody who's been trained to be a carpenter. That's what they do. It's what they do best, you know, and that's how they make a living, I guess.
Were you ever going to be anything else, by the way?
I know.
Were you ever going to be like an insurance salesman, or?
I was never going to be anything else.
Really?
Never. I was playing when I was 12 years old. That's all I wanted to do was play my guitar.
Was it a thing?
No, I was going to the parties where all these biggest guys were, you know, and they were all, you know. It was a way, you know, of getting attention and whatever. It starts out that way. But I didn't know where it was going to lead. Now that it's led me here, I still don't know where it is.
You sound like, well, obviously you're older than you were in the 60s, but also a degree of self-knowledge and certainty about where you're going as a person. I don't know if you have.
I don't know about where I'm going as a person.
Really?
No, but I hear contentment. That's what I
Yeah, more.
Much more contentment.
Well, in certain areas, yeah, maybe. Gosh, I hope so. I don't know what's going to happen when I'm not around to sing anymore. I hope somebody else comes along, you know, who could pick up on what I'm doing and learn exactly what it is that makes it quite different. I keep looking for that somebody that's going to pick up on that, either not necessarily to cover me, but to take it a step further. I've already taken it as far as I can take it. Maybe I won't see that person, I don't know. But somebody sometime will come along and take it another step further. No one who I've seen has taken what I've done any step further. And I don't say that in a bragging sort of way. It just hasn't gone any further, you know.
But there is something, and that's why you go back to the stage then.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm just thankful I can play on the stage and people will come to see me, you know, because I couldn't make it otherwise. I mean, if I went out to play and nobody showed up, that would be the end of me. I wouldn't be making the records, I'll tell you that. You know, I know that. I only make records because people see me live. So as long as they're coming out to see me live, I'll just make more records, you know.